It was a loony bin.
It was a loony bin.
It was a combination of a bunch of people in their 20s, early 20s, who had just gotten out of college, and the Welsh Horde, which was a group of Stuyvesant students. Sleazy, slimy, greasy, grimy, grungy, cheap, and easy. Easy being a 12-year-old girl who was the most innocent little looking creature you'd ever seen. But that actually took place in another kingdom, in the Kingdom of Acre. There was a crown in the Debatable lands, and a half-dozen Østgarðians went out to participate. Vissevald was king. I went out in the 4th round, so I was able to pick up my movie camera, which was an 8mm movie camera, and take pictures of Andreas, who was the Østgarðian hope, as he moved up. He achieved the finals against Hasdrubal, who was from the Ritter of Kale. Andreas and Hasdrubal beat each other silly. They couldn't, both of their shield arms were bruised through the shields. Andreas took him, won the first 2 out of, it was best 3 out of 5. Andreas won the first 2. In the 3rd battle, Andreas had Hasdrubal on his knees and was hitting him. And Hasdrubal had a big shield and he had a good defense. But Andreas was coming in and sweeping underneath his shield. And Hasdrubal kept screaming that he was hitting him in the knees. Vissevald admonished Andreas not to hit below the waist again. So they continued fighting. At which point Vissevald again stopped the fight and said that he was concerned about Andreas not taking leg blows. Count Ælfwine and one other knight who I cannot remember took Andreas off to the side and they checked his leg. And Andreas was wearing a pair of bright yellow pants with no padding on the thigh. The knees were fully armored as required. But nothing on the thigh from the kneecap to the hip. Ælfwine came back and reported that there was not a bruise on Andreas's leg, so he could not have failed to take a blow. Because back in the old days, it was considered a good blow was a blow that, when striking the leg, would raise a bruise the size of a quarter through a single layer of fabric to knee. In other words, bruise the size of a quarter through your blue jeans. And Andreas was obviously not hit. Vissevald, not taking his knight marshal's advice, or 2 of his knights' advice, declared Andreas out of the competition. The skyrocket started then. It got worse when Vissevald rather than declaring Hasdrubal the winner, who had come up and was facing Andreas in the finals, did not declare him the winner. He reached it down. First into the winners list and then into the losers list, because two fighters said, "I was eliminated. I cannot continue," and I don't remember their names. He reached down and he got his former squire, Sir Gavin, and elevated him up to face Hasdrubal. Now Hasdrubal was pretty beat up, having fought all day long. Gavin had been eliminated early enough. Gavin became the crown prince. At which point Østgarðr went into rebellion. At Twelfth night that year, Twelfth night 1980, January 1980, we were installed as Viceroy and Vicereine. 20 minutes later, we were called back into court. Had all been arranged with Vissevald, and we declared that the Crown Prince was a false prince and went into rebellion. And Østgarðr walked out. We did not participate in Gavin's reign. Meanwhile, Andreas the Vulpes, Bob Fox, had been involved in, and Aidan had been involved in setting up a group to do demos properly, not the hit and miss way that the SCA did them at that time. It was pretty
catch as catch can.
Pretty bad, quite often. And that is how the Kingdom of Acre came about. Andreas was crowned first King of Acre. I was one of his supporters at the time. And there, we continued to hold the titles of Viceroy and Vicereine. Aidan continued to be seneschal, but there was no SCA activity in the New York City area for a year and a half.